Hello everyone, welcome to another Let's Play. My name is Anna Mardal and today we're going to be playing, actually it depends. It's either Quest for Glory 1 or if you're really old like me, you might remember it as Heroes Quest. Either way, it is a Sierra game. It's a very old Sierra game. It's one of the first video games I ever played. It was the first video game with graphics I ever played. And so we're going to be playing the original EGA version. So press 2 there. And this is a guilt notice that comes up every time you boot the game. This is how they used to try to discourage piracy. The software you are now using was produced through the efforts of many people, designers, artists, programmers, musicians, and lots of other hardworking folks. If you make copies of this software for any reason other than to make a personal backup, you are not only breaking the law, but raising the cost of software for all legitimate users. Please do not make illegal copies of this game. Bit of a muddled message there. I like how it started out with the hardworking folks, and it sounds like it's about to suggest that piracy leaves them hungry, and then instead it just says that piracy causes them to jack up the cost of software for legitimate users. But I do like that they at least acknowledge that you can make copies for personal backup. Oh, by the way, you will need the information contained in the printed documentation to successfully complete this game. In other words, it's not just the law, it's a good idea. So a friend of mine, Ben, hi Ben, has been playing this game actually for the past week or so and asked me what information was needed in the printed documentation to complete the game. I had this back when it was on floppy disks, and I'm pretty sure that the original floppy disk version of the game, I think there were spots where it asked you, go to the user manual, flip to page 23, what's the second word of the third paragraph? I can't swear to that, but I think it did. They took that out, thankfully, in the CD collection of the game, the later version that they put on CDs. And this one is not the CD collection. Actually, this is from GOG, which is packaged, I think, with DOSBox or something. They do something so that it'll run on Windows 7, for which I'm grateful, because otherwise the collector's edition CD I have doesn't run on my operating system. But another kind of thing that they did, and I don't know how much of this was deliberate and how much of it was just the early days of video games and they didn't quite know what they were doing yet, but there's stuff in the user manual that's background for the game that if you don't have, you're probably not going to pick up, and it's going to make the game a lot harder and in some cases impossible to do certain things. So I will point that out as we go along. But I wanted to do this because I did, a couple of weeks ago, I did Laura Bow, Colonel's Bequest. And I did that game because I wanted to play something for a few hours. It's short, it's quick. And I went ahead and recorded it because why not? But I honestly didn't think anyone would watch it. Like, maybe 3 people. And instead, you guys were super supportive and, yay, retro games, cool, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. So, I'd been wanting to replay this anyway, and then Ben was tempting me with his replay, talking about it, and, I thought, well, if people were willing to watch me play Laura Bow, maybe they'll watch me play Heroes Quest. This is a longer game. This is going to be a crap load of videos. I'm just gonna warn you now. So if you're here and you enjoy this kind of retro games, then great. If you don't, then I'll try to do something else soon too. But we're here now. And I wanted to play the EGA, the original version. You saw at the beginning we had a choice for the VGA as well. All this comes bundled on GOG, which I definitely recommend. You can get the 1 through 5 with the EGA and the VGA of 1, so it's like 6 games for like $10 on GOG. It's a great deal. I I like the VGA version. It's very pretty, but there's some stuff that the EGA version lets us do that causes me to stick with that. So I'll call that out as we go too. But I don't want to keep us stuck on this screen forever. So here is the opening screen. We have a poster that says wanted hero for the village of Spielberg. There's a scorpion. If we click on it, it says congratulations, you have discovered the first bug in this game. So we can choose to watch the introduction, we can start a new hero, or we can continue quest. And you know, this is very dated, obviously pixel type graphics. But I have to say that at the time, when I first played this as a kid, this was the coolest thing I had ever seen. And it's about to get even cooler. Okay, strap in. Oh my gosh, it's a dragon! It burns! There's us! We're chasing the little dinosaur! There's us! We're being chased by the big dinosaur! And so that says Quest for Glory. The game was originally titled by Sierra as Heroes Quest, and there was some kind of copyright issue with somebody else already having that name, and they hadn't realized that, so they had to change it later. But it was Heroes Quest to me first, and then became Quest for Glory. And this is just the pretty music, pretty credits. The introduction to the game, because that's what this was, it was called the introduction, actually tells us absolutely nothing. I will be telling you things as we go along. And that was kind of what I meant about the fact that the instruction manual has stuff that without it you would not know the backstory at all, such as it is. So here we have a choose your character selection. It's kind of D&D-ish. You've got a fighter, you've got a magic user, and you've got a thief. And whichever one we pick changes our starting skills and our inventory. And I do love that they all kind of have different personalities here. I like the fighter confidently smacking his sword against his hand. The magic user, you know, just quietly doing his magic. And then the thief being kind of skulky and his eyebrows are... he's frowning or squinting or something. One of the things that I like about these games is that there are different choices and paths for each of these types of characters, but character selection doesn't necessarily lock you out of the other paths, necessarily. We're going to talk about that too. We're going to pick a fighter. And we're going to pick a fighter because the fighter is the fighter paths are the one thing that the magic user and thief don't have access to for reasons that I'll get into later. But a fighter can do the magic user and thief stuff, but the magic user and thief can't do the fighter stuff. So we're going to do a fighter. So fighter starts with, these are stats that you have already: strength, intelligence, agility, vitality, luck. Vitality is your hit points. Agility and, well, actually, yeah, agility is health or stamina points, and vitality is health and stamina. Weapon use, parry, dodge. We have 4 skills that we don't have anything in. Stealth, pick locks, climbing, those are thief skills, and magic, which is the magic user skill. We have 50 points available, and if we were doing this the way they expected and kind of intended, we'd go through and spend 50 points on the various skills here. But we are dirty, I want to say min-maxer, but we're not going to be minning much. We're going to be maxing as much as we can. if you have an untrained skill in the game, untrained being 0, you can never increase it because you don't know enough about the skill to get better at it. But here at the character creation screen, you can pour points into them. Now, for something we already know like dodge, if we want to spend 5 points, we get 5 points. It's a 1-to-1, you know, we could put all of our points into dodge and get 60 dodge points right off the bat. For something untrained, it cost 15 points for that first leap to 5, sort of implying that it was really hard to learn that first 5. So we're going to put 15 points into stealth, 15 points into lockpicking, 15 points into magic, and climbing is going to be our one dump stat that is 0. We will not be able to increase climbing in this game. We will increase it later through other avenues, but not in this game. Then that's okay. I don't like it. I would like to be able to climb, obviously, but there is no puzzle which requires us to climb that we can't solve through other means like throwing or magic or whatever. And in fact, if we were a regular normal fighter, we wouldn't have climbing anyway. So we don't have climb, but that's okay. And then the other 5 points I'm going to put in magic. And I'm doing that solely because magic requires magic points in order to grind it, and if we only have 5 magic, we only have 6 magic points. But if I put another 5 into magic, then we go up to 10 magic points. That gives me more points to grind with, so I'm not constantly having to rest and or drink magic potions early in the game. We're going to give him a name. If we don't give him a name, the game names him Unknown Hero. Let's call him, I'm going to call him Aaron. Hi, Aaron. Hello. And these are our stats. We're incredibly weak because the game doesn't expect you to do what I just did and throw everything into the zeroed stats that they didn't expect you to do. But that's what I was saying about what I like about the paths is whether they did this intentionally, so it would be, choose your own adventure and role-playing, or whether they did it unintentionally, not knowing that folks like me existed because it was the early days of video games. I do not know. But for whatever reason, choosing a fighter didn't lock you out of also learning magic. You know, okay, fine. If you want to be a fighter who learned magic in their free time, and if that's how you want to spend your points, go ahead, spend your points on that. I love that. And it really set the tone early on for me in what I want out of a role-playing game. So we're going to go ahead and hit start. And we're walking into a town. What are we doing? This seems like a quiet little town. On the porch ahead of you are 2 people. The standing one is large, rather ugly, and playing with a yo-yo. The seated person smoking a pipe looks like he might be the sheriff. The man with the pipe greets you. Welcome to our town. You were lucky to have made it down from the mountains before the snow blocked the pass again. It's gotten pretty dangerous outside of town, I understand. Many monsters have been trapped around here with the late snow. Between them and the brigands, we certainly could use a hero around here. I am Sheriff Schultz Meisterson. This is Otto von Goon, my assistant. What do you call yourself? So we say Aaron. Good luck in your quest, Aaron. And that's all we get. So, who are we? What the heck is going on? What is this? If we had the booklet and you had read it, which I didn't read it as a kid because I was just super excited to start this video game. So I was very confused for a while. We are a graduate from a school that makes heroes, basically. People who want to become a hero would go to this school, or in our case, it was a correspondence course, and teach you the basics. And that was where all our stats were. You know, we're a basic, very low-level fighter. And we came to this little town in this little valley because we heard that they need a hero, and it seems like a good place to cut our teeth and start as a level 1 hero and see if we can make it here. If I can make it here, I'll make it anywhere. So that's the plot. Which we had no way of knowing as we just walked up there. So I'm going to save. And I'm going to talk to Sheriff. The sheriff informs you that he's much too busy for idle chit-chat. Okay, that's fair. We'll need to do asking instead. Ask about Sheriff. Why, that's me. Okay. Ask about town. Just walk around and find out for yourself. Okay. Ask about, mountains? You should know. You came down from there. Monsters. He mentioned monsters. The monsters come down from the mountains every winter, but they're usually gone by now. The Baron just doesn't have enough men to handle them. Wolfgang is the one to talk to about monsters. He's had a lot of experience with them. Who's Wolfgang? Wolfgang, down at the Guildhall, is the one to talk to about monsters. He's had a lot of experience with them. Okay, that was kind of redundant. Ask about Guildhall. The Guildhall is in the southwest corner of town. If you're looking for work, that's a good place to go. He mentioned a baron. Baron Stefan keeps mostly to himself at his castle north of here. We haven't seen him here in town for years. There's a castle. That's the same answer. Okay, let's ask about Otto. Otto is a big help to me, the sheriff tells you. He's very smart for a goon. His prisoners only suffer a few broken bones when he grabs them. It took a bit of doing to teach him to bring prisoners back alive, but he hardly ever forgets now. Okay. So let's talk to Otto. Otto only expresses himself physically. Okay, so he doesn't talk. He has a yo-yo. It goes up and down, up and down. There's more than a hint of ogre about this strange and bulky character. He seems cheerful, though. Schultz appears to be an affable old coot, content to smoke his pipe. There's a hardness behind his eyes, however, that gives you reason to believe that he's no pushover. The sheriff's office doubles as a jail for the town and a hangout for the sheriff and the goon. The town gate is made of sturdy logs. It stands open. What time is it? So let's actually, I'll show you we've got save, restore, restart. Oh good, sound volume. Oh, that's why it was so loud. You may have noticed I had a couple of save files already because I attempted to start recording and the game was just too loud. Oh, hello. There we go. And now that I got the volume right, and now I'm afraid I just decreased it from what was good. So we'll see. If the volume's too low, then I can fix that. The bigger problem before was that the volume was too high, and you couldn't hear me talk while the music was going. So we got cast, spell, fight, escape. I wouldn't have necessarily shown those in there when the more important ones are like Control A gets you ask about, which you're going to be asking about way more often than you fight or escape. Pause game, repeat, and then, oh, okay, here we go. Ask about Control A, look at is Control L, inventory, character sheet, and time and day. So what time of day is it? It's midday on day 1. That's important. Well, it's not important, but it will be important to know time. You are carrying, this is our inventory screen. This is a very plain inventory screen, but this is what we used to have. 5 rations, a broadsword, leather armor, and a shield. We have 4 gold coins, 10 silver coins, and the weight carried versus our maximum weight. And we have no spells at this time. And here is our status screen, which is exactly what it was when we started the game, except we have 2 more puzzle points. So, okay, we've seen this. This seems like a quiet little town. So let's go to the left. There's this very pretty and very interesting, conspicuous, there's a words. There's a little inn over here, Hero's Tale Inn. The windows glow from the light inside. The sign reads, Hero's Tale Inn. Well, let's go in. I hope you can hear the music, because it's really pretty. Like I said, I had to adjust it so it wouldn't be too loud and you could still hear me, but I do hope you can hear it. I'll need to check the video and like I said, tweak it as necessary. If it's not hearable in this video, don't worry, it will be in later ones, and we will be coming back to this inn again. Welcome, welcome traveler to the Hero's Tale Inn. I am Shamin at your service. May you find what you seek here. So, where are we? This looks like an alpine inn, complete with dishes on the wall and heavy beams on the ceiling. It is pleasantly warm, and the aroma of strange spices fill the air. The warmth of the fire feels good on such a chilly day. The proprietor of the inn apparently thinks so too. Cats always seem to gravitate to a warm hearth. You see a small cat-like creature known as a kata. You've heard that katas are common in the southern deserts. Collections of the designer plates loaned to the Hero's Inn by Mary Meister. I don't know what that's a reference to. There's a lot of there's a lot of in-jokes in this game, and some of them are pretty deep cuts that I didn't get as a kid, and in some cases caused me to waste too much time on something that was just supposed to be a joke and it wasn't actually plot relevant. The odor of cooking food wafts through the kitchen door. This table must have been made for some tall folks, perhaps goons, ogres, or centaurs. A door to some other room. Perhaps the proprietor can tell you what's in there. The tables look like they have been rough cut from some of the local pines. And you get this nice shadow work with the fireplace causing the tables to cast shadows. So these kata will be a much bigger fixture in the second game. And I do have to kind of drape a little bit of a warning over this. You know, they're pretty clearly meant to be a fantasy analog to generic Middle Eastern culture du jour. I can see now a lot of problems with the depiction. They're not presented as particularly smart or wily or canny. They're very servile, you know. Shamin and later when we meet his wife, we'll talk about how can I serve you? How can I please you? What can I bring you? Which is, they're service industry workers by virtue of being innkeepers, but still, you don't get that with, for instance, the other sellers in town who aren't Middle Eastern analogs. I think that Sierra, for the time, and again, this game was from like the 1980s or even before, I'm not sure. I think they were trying to be sensitive and nice and inclusive. I think it doesn't hold up so great, and they could have done a lot better. But I will say, and this is damning with extremely faint praise, but, you know, as a kid, this was one of the first and definitely the most positive depictions of any kind of Middle Eastern society that I saw as a very, very white kid in the middle of super Christian Texas. So, you know, I'm grateful that Sierra, for me, I'm grateful that they tried to be diverse and in a kind, good way. I now in 2018 playing this, I wish they had done a lot better and a lot more. But because, like I said, I can see the cracks around it. So this is very much a whether it's aged well or not is going to be your mileage may vary per viewer. So I'm not going to, you know, praise it or anything, but I did want to note that. And that'll be more of a thing in the second game whenever we visit Shamin's home country, and it'll be even more of a thing in Quest for Glory 3, but we will get there later. So back to the game. We're going to talk to Shamin. So let's just ask about this. Well, and of course it's the other thing. They're literally non-human. We will see some Middle Eastern people who are human. Although in this game that's limited to exactly one person, and he's not exactly. He's kind of over the top drama king, so it's not the most sensitive portrayal, but literally this is, you know, they're non-human, which is always kind of tricky when you're trying to depict other cultures in a fantastical setting. But again, it's an old game, so it didn't age well. So let's ask him about this Kata race that he is. We Kata are a race of desert dwellers, wanderers of the endless sands. Okay, and he's licking himself. So that's a thing that's happening right now. Let's ask him about the inn. I have run this inn for 3 years now with Shima. We had thought to return to Shapir, my homeland, with Abdullah Du, but alas, fate has decreed otherwise. Who's Abdullah Du? My friend Abdullah is recovering from his robbery last week. He should be here around supper time. Okay, he doesn't know what that means. Services, we'll say food. Very good food, very good drink, finest in town. Sit, rest. You will be served by my Shima. Who is Shima? Shima is my mate and the light of my life. If you sit down, she will be happy to serve you. We never actually, I don't think, see this, but I wonder if Shima and Shamin, if there's some kind of tradition in their culture for when you get married, for you to take new names that are complementary to each other, because otherwise that seems like quite a funny coincidence. This would be like a couple where one of them's named Daniel and the other one's named Danielle. I'm sure that's happened. It just is an interesting coincidence. What about this room over here? Very nice room. Very soft beds. Finest in town. Only 5 silvers a night. So, we just... ask him about the town. Although in this valley I now have many friends, I miss my homeland terribly. Do you know the sheriff? We know the sheriff. 1,000 pardons. I am a fool and have no answer for your question. So that's kind of what I mean about kind of stereotypically servitude, because that's, I guess, his answer if he doesn't, if the parser doesn't know what you're asking, or if he doesn't have an answer for the 1,000 pardons, I am a fool, as opposed to the sheriff. If you ask him something, he says something to the lines of, do you think I'm going to tell you everything about everything? Get out and look around yourself, you know. So okay, we're gonna go ahead and sit down. We had a long walk here, apparently, down through the mountains. Move closer to the chair. Fine. And he clapped. I am Shima. Allow me to serve you, wanderer from afar. Do you wish food or drink? Well, let's talk to her first. I am called Shima, mate of Shamin, your humble servant. Shamin is of the oldest and finest ancestry of the Kata people. Okay, ask about food. We have very good stew of newborn lamb, along with honey chicken for a mere 3 silvers. And what about drink? We have rich black coffee, freshly ground and brewed as only my people do. Such coffee will bring you to your full alertness. We also have a tea of the rarest herbs, which will quench the thirst of the desert. Each is only 1 silver. Well, let's buy some food. With great pleasure will I serve you a fine meal. That does sound nice. I would like some honey chicken. I bring you that which you ordered. May it please and satisfy you. You thank Shima and pay her. The food tastes surprisingly good. The beverage goes down smoothly and well. Okay, we're gonna stand. I tried this earlier in my other game. If you say thank you, the game just generically says you're welcome. The second game actually adds a stat under luck called, I think it's communication, but it's basically diplomacy. And it's so cool because it actually goes up whenever you're polite to people and you thank them. And I try to do that anyway in video games. So it was really cool to have a game that rewarded that. Also, I am going to take this opportunity to go into stealth mode. Boop. And now we're walking funny, as you can see. Stealth does a couple of things. First of all, it makes us look adorable. I think that's so cute. what stealth does is it makes us move more quietly than just normal walking around, and certainly more quietly than running around crashing through the bushes. And the reason I'm doing it in the middle of the day in town when people can see me and I look like a fool is if you just stay in stealth mode just constantly, you do up the stealth ability over there. Right now it's 5, but it's going to start shooting up as we walk around. So that's the easiest one really to train, because you just stealth the entire game until it hits 100 and then you don't need to do it anymore. So we've gone to the down the left-hand street. You have come to the end of the main street. The town wall is to the south. You have an eerie feeling that someone is watching you. Well, yes, there is a giant eyeball on this strange shop. There's no getting around it. A shop with its eye on you makes you nervous. At least it tells you what it does. It's magic. It would seem that this strangely decorated building is involved in the magic trade. Not only does this building look weird, but it feels weird to be near it. Over here we have a lady who is deeply asleep in her rocker. This looks like a nice, neat little house. There is a grandmotherly little old lady rocking on the front lawn. And then here you see something that says Guild Hall. Judging from what the sign says, the building at the end of the street is the Guild Hall. You can just see a thin thread of light under the door, so there is probably someone inside. So let's go into the magic building. Whoop. Okay, so this is a strange place. The floor is black with a symbol on it. There's a pentagram here. The sky is clouds. And is this a wall or just a black void of nothingness? It's kind of hard to tell. Tall shelves with books and odds and ends suited to magic line the walls. In front of you is a counter with a pentagram embossed on the front. The ceiling and the far wall are mysterious indeed. There is a strange symbol on the floor. So I just talked about how the Shamin and Shima were the first, as a kid, the first depictions of any kind of Middle Eastern culture I ever encountered. This was the first depiction of any kind of magic I ever encountered. So this room has left an impression on me. A pentagram used in incantations to conjure spirits. Impressive design on the floor, but merely decorative. So each of these shelves has a description, although some of them repeat. Tinsel and chaff, very good for avoiding radar. Bottles of mephitic potions. Dried up mantray, or manta jerky. Accoutrements and equipment. Books dealing with sorcery, necromancy, and other occult subjects. Things and stuff. Magical junk and mystical garbage. It's a frog. A toaster oven, very rarely used as electricity is not invented yet. A hooded robe for when it rains in here. Darned if I know. A crystal ball, useful only to those initiated into the ways of witches. Odds and ends. A replacement part for a magical facelift. And paraphernalia and apparatus. So none of that was important. And whoa, the gargoyle just woke up. And that was lightning. I am Sara, and my companion is Damiano. So the gargoyle is her familiar, basically. The skills in this shop are destined for those... the items in this shop are designed for those skilled in the use of magic. We have very little for ones such as you who have not been initiated, but what we have could prove useful. So what she means by initiated and that we're not is we haven't become a full-fledged wizard student yet, which would be true if we'd selected the magic user as well, by the way. That will come later in the series, but right now we're still kind of a dilettante dabbler. So, wow, okay, where do we start? Let's talk about Damiano. Damiano is my familiar and my companion. We share our lives and our magic. Okay, let's ask about magic. There is much magic in this world for those who know how to use it. There is magic in this little town, and a good deal of magic in this valley. What I sell here are merely tools to help those who have power. You may purchase restorative potions and scrolls from which you may learn spells if you have the potential. I'm distracted while reading this because I'm trying to figure out how much business she could possibly have in this little town that has no other magic users except me. Like, I don't understand this business model at all. But maybe whenever the roads aren't blocked by snow and harangued by brigands, maybe there's a strong tourist trade from magic dabblers. I have no idea. But that's something that's only just now occurred to me, that I don't know how Zara is meeting her building rental fees. Okay, she said there's magic in the valley. There is much power in this valley, and it attracts those who use magic. I am here in Spielberg. Erasmus has his house on Zauberberg, and even Baba Yaga has her hut cooped up somewhere around here. What is power? She made that sound different from magic. Power is the essence of magic, that which the wizard shapes and is shaped by. My power potion restores your magical energy and costs 75 silver. Ooh, that's a lot. Okay, what about those names? Erasmus. Erasmus is a wizard and a spellcaster who knows much about this area. He lives in a tower eastward of town. He can be very helpful if approached properly, but he has a strange sense of humor. Okay, let's talk about Baba Yaga. She is a powerful and wicked hag. You would be wise to avoid her. She cursed the Baron von Spielberg when he tried to drive her away. That's the second time we've heard about the Baron not doing too well. He was once the great leader of this land until he was foolish enough to anger Baba Yaga. What about this curse? This is Baba Yaga's curse, cast upon the Baron years ago. Upon von Spielberg and all his clan, this curse I now demand. What I will shall come full measure, so shall ye lose all that ye treasure. There is always a way to break a curse. Possibly Erasmus knows more about this one. Wow, okay, so let's ask about spells. We sell several magical spells on study scrolls. You may purchase Flame Dart for 60 silver, Fetch for 40 silver, or the Open Spell for 30 silver. The scrolls we sell are magical. You have but to read the spell and you will learn it. I also know that you can find a wonderful spell if you learn the secret of Irana's peace. What's that? Irana was a powerful spellcaster who lived long ago. She brought peace to this valley. Even now her spell protects this town from violence or foul magic. Her final resting place is due north of town, and it is a place of both safety and healing. It is known as Irana's peace. How does that work, the town? There is an aura protecting this town from danger. Within most of the town's walls, there can be no act of violence or cruel magic. Even so, it is prudent to avoid dark places. Okay, I think that's everything. Oh, ask about Initiate. When you have mastered 9 spells, have the power to cast them all, and have proved yourself worthy by accomplishing a great deed, then you must undergo initiation to become a full wizard. There is a place in the distant south where you must journey, but first you must become a hero here. So hey, points there. Not only did they have an answer for that involving the sequel, but it actually understood the question. I will buy the Open Spell. May this aid you on your quest. As you read the spell scroll, the spell is ingrained in your mind. So now we have a spell, the Open Spell. We have a skill of 5 in it, and it costs 2 magic points. And we also have a piece of paper that's, I think, blank at this point. And we are down to 1 gold coin and 7 silver when we had 4 and 10. So we do not have enough to buy the rest of the scrolls, much as I would like to. Can we greet the old lady? Talk to lady. Zzz. She is asleep and cannot be woken. So let's go inside the guild hall. This adventurer's guild hall reminds you of the one in your hometown. The traditional moose head and other stuffed monsters, saurus, troll, griffin, dragon, Cheetar and the terrible Antwerp adorn the walls. Quincy, please stop kicking the mouse. Maybe, thank you. You see the registration book on the desk and the bulletin board full of job listings. The man seated by the fire must be the guildmaster. He is snoring. So let's just go clockwise, starting with him. It looks like this old guildmaster doesn't do much adventuring anymore. Still, he looks like he was plenty tough in his day, and he probably has many a tale to tell. The fire blazing cheerily in the fireplace helps warm the guildmaster's old bones. Let's look at the dragon. Even in death, this monster remains awesome. The plaque reads, Dragon slain by Baron Stefan von Spielberg. So that's pretty impressive if the Baron took down a dragon. Cheetar. The head is like a panther's, but with a strong human-like quality. It is still rather frightening. The plaque reads, Cheetar slain by Wolfgang Abentuer. So Wolfgang is he said the guildmaster, so that must be this guy here. This is a troll. It looks like it must have been a particularly nasty troll. You wouldn't want to meet him in a dark forest. The plaque reads, Troll slain by Wolfgang Abentuer. The griffin. This crossbreed of eagle and lion could have torn a man apart when it was alive. The plaque reads, Griffin slain by Wolfgang Abentuer. He's been busy. This is an Antwerp. This is certainly a weird one. You've never seen anything quite like it. The plaque reads, Antwerp slain by two guys from Andromeda. That's another in-joke. I think it's a Space Quest joke, but I'm not sure at all. And it confused me as a kid, let me tell you. Who are two guys from Andromeda? What does that mean? You never saw a purple saurus before you came to Spielberg, but it looks like a really stupid monster. The plaque reads, Saurus slain by Hans Hafwitten. The plaque under the moose says, courtesy of Sierra Online Prop Department. And over here we have a registration book, which we're going to read. The last entry was made several years ago. It says, Baronet Barnard von Spielberg killed a troll near the Flying Falls on this 23rd day of October. That was important. You will notice we got points for it. And we're going to sign the book because we're new. You sign your name into the adventurer's logbook with a flourish. And that gave us points too. And when you read the book, the writing on this page looks very recent. It says, I, Aaron, have come to Spielberg to become a hero. Now let's look at the quest board. It actually gives us a nice close-up of the quest board, which is very pretty. We've got 2 rewards, a couple of, looks like maybe lost or missing posters with people's faces on them, a wanted notice, and notice. So we'll just go around clockwise again. Reward for return of lost ring. Inquire at the healers. Okay, we could probably do a lost ring. This poster is rather dusty and faded. The picture is of a small child with braids. Reward of 50 gold coins for the safe return of Elsa von Spielberg. Inquire at Spielberg Castle gates. Okay. Reward of 30 gold coins for the capture or death of the brigand warlock. Description: short, ugly, and wears brightly colored robes. Has a habit of laughing continually. Inquire at the Spielberg Castle gates. Okay. I said clockwise, but it looks like the cursor wants to take us down. Wanted, brigand leader. Description: unknown appearance, wears a cloak. Must provide proof of leader's identity. Reward of 60 gold coins and title of hero of the realm. Inquire at Spielberg Castle gates. Notice: spell components needed. Cash or trade for potions. Inquire at the healers. Reward: this poster seems to have been here a while. It has a picture of a handsome but arrogant young man. Reward of 50 gold coins for information leading to the return of Baronet Barnard von Spielberg. Inquire at Spielberg Castle gates. So, wow, okay, it's starting to sound a little bit clearer why the Baron is so stressed out and never leaves his castle, because in addition to the brigands, which we already knew about, apparently 2 of his kids are missing. And it sounds like they've been missing a while based on the description of the posters being so old. I was so busy I didn't notice you come in. Welcome, welcome. It is so seldom that we have new adventurers here. Most people think this valley is cursed. A curse? Yeah, what with the Baron losing his son and daughter, all the monsters, Baba Yaga, and now the brigands, it has been one thing after another. So that's a lot. Let's go in order. He was the son of the Baron, was a hero, and worthy of the name Barnard von Spielberg. He rode off to hunt one morning 5 years ago, and his horse returned with large and deep claw marks. No sign of the Baroness' body was ever found. Ask about daughter. Elsa was a beautiful 8-year-old child with blonde hair and sky-blue eyes. She was the Baron's pride and joy. 10 years ago, she was carried off by something which came over the wall and flew off with her. The search for her lasted many years, but at last everyone gave up. Everyone that is, except for the Baron's jester, Yorick. What about Yorick? Yorick was a funny little man, but brave. He swore he would spend his life searching for the Baron's Elsa. Baron von Spielberg was once a brave protector of our valley. We used to adventure together when we were younger. No brigand or monster would dare show his face here if the Baron had not angered Baba Yaga. Now it is said that he goes nowhere and sees no one. That's sad. Baba Yaga is the center of our problems, I think. Baba Yaga is a powerful ogress. Baron von Spielberg tried to force her to leave this valley, but she cursed him. Now the Baron has lost everything but his land, and I don't know how long he will keep that. What our valley needs is a hero. A real hero is someone who did not start out strong or powerful, but who uses his courage, brain, and skills to become the best he can be. There is a reward for anyone who can stop the brigands by capturing or killing their leaders. The information is on the bulletin board. Let's ask about monsters. You can see some of the types of monsters that live around here if you look at our walls. Well, let's ask about our walls. Let's ask about the dragon. One day, years ago, a pair of dragons tried to take over our valley. We adventurers rode out to meet them. I can still see Stefan von Spielberg charging forward on his black horse. He slew the one whose head adorns the wall above our fireplace. The other one flew off. People say they can sometimes see that other dragon flying high overhead, but it has never dared attack us again. What about the cheetar? Watch out for cheetars. I bear the scars of my last fight with one to this day. What about trolls? It's been a while since Schultz and I killed the one on the wall. It is fortunate that few trolls remain. They're deadly. Let's ask about Griffin. I remember the day I killed one. It was the biggest one I had ever seen. It put up a tough fight, but I was tougher. You can see the result on the wall. Let's ask about Antwerp. One year, this valley was overrun by those odd and terrible monsters. Schultz and I fought long and hard to eliminate them completely. We might have failed even so, had it not been for those two peculiar tourists who came to our aid. What about those tourists? They certainly were strange. What about the Saurus? Oh, those are nothing. Anyone can kill a Saurus. And last but not least, the moose. That was the most vicious moose I ever ran into. Nearly bit my nose off. Is there anything else? You know, that reminds me very little of the time old Schultz and I... Wait a minute, it'll come to me. That's his dialogue if he doesn't have anything else to say. Schultz and I have been friends for a long time. He, too, has been a real adventurer. Now he's just the sheriff of the town. So we're gonna say goodbye? Bye, that's just the game. I hate that I can't say goodbye to people. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. So our intelligence went up from talking to him. That's nice. Or possibly from buying a spell. I'm not sure which. So that was this side of town. You're kicking my mouse again. It is still midday. Over here we have what looks like a barber shop. The sign of the scissors above the door, along with the striped pole, indicates that the building contains a barber shop. A typical barber's pole. There's a sign on the door of the barber shop informing whoever reads it that the barber is out to lunch. The door is locked. You can smell apples as you approach this corner. The pretty young centaur looks at you and says, "Good day and welcome to Spielberg. Do you wish to buy some nice fresh fruits or vegetables?" So we've got a farmer's market here. It is but a small stall, used for the daily sale of whatever local produce has not been confiscated by the brigands. The small apples give off a sweet but pungent odor. There's lettuce and other leafy plants. Carrots are good for night vision and lower one's cholesterol. The turnips seem to blush with pride. You wonder if the farmer has been using alar. And the creature in charge of the farmer's mart is a rather lovely and shy-looking centaur. So, let's talk to the centaur girl. The pretty young centaur looks at you and says, "Good day and welcome to Spielberg." Okay, we already got that part. What's her name? "I am Hildy, daughter of Heinrich Ferdefedern, the farmer." "Hello, Hildy. Let's ask about the fruits and vegetables." "There are still some apples left from last season in the barrel. You may buy 10 for a silver, since they are so small. We will have fresh cherries in a couple of months." And let's ask about the vegetables. "We have many kinds of fresh vegetables for sale today. There are lettuce, carrots, potatoes, and turnips right from the ground at 5 for a silver. They are very good for you." Let's ask about your father. "My father is Heinrich Ferdefedern, who works our farm just north of town." "We have some land to the north of town. It isn't very big, but we grow many things. You should be here during the harvest time. Then you would see many fruits and vegetables." "You know, in the autumn. But then perhaps you have never been a farmer." What does she think about town?" "I am sorry. I do not get about very much, and I do not really know about many things." Brigands?" "They have twice robbed my father of his money, and they have tried to steal our food this winter. That is because we farm outside of town. They would not dare to try that in town. The sheriff would stop them fast. Many robbers have run up to father as he trotted back to town. My father tried to fight, but they hurt him badly. They always run away to the west." Huh. Well, that sounds bad. Let's, I don't know, let's buy some apples just to be nice. You carefully select 10 of the best apples from the barrel and pay the lady a silver piece. So over here we have a dry goods store, a simple but prospering looking edifice it is. It looks like it might provide some staples that would prove useful to a traveler. And this house here is the same color as the sheriff's office around the corner. So let's go ahead and check out the dry goods store. It's small and cozy. So, this looks like a dry goods store, but it smells like a musty library. The stove feels nice on such a crisp day. Behind the counter and on the shelves there are many and various items for sale. The shopkeeper appears to ignore you while he reads a book. The barrels appear to be filled with something and look rather heavy. You see broom and rake handles in this barrel. The stove is burning merrily away, making the shop seem almost too warm. An unornamented but exceptionally sturdy shield. So we'll just go over again, clockwise. Pickled Saurus eggs, wild honey from the forest, tea imported all the way from Shapir, locally grown pepper, salt from the desert east of the mountains, sugar from dried figs, salted dried saurus, pickled pig's feet, bags of flour, linen coarsely woven from the fibers of spore-spitting spirea plants, jars of beet and sauerkraut, flasks very useful for storing liquids, and the proprietor's teapot. The shopkeeper is a small, balding man who wears glasses. He looks as if he can barely lift the book he is reading. Judging from his clothes, he is fairly well-to-do. One of the things I love about this game is how much effort they put into giving all of these things descriptions instead of just there's stuff behind the counter. "Oh, I'm sorry," the shopkeeper blurts out. "I didn't notice you coming in. My, you look like an adventurer. We don't see too many of those around here. The brigands tend to get rid of most adventurers before they make it to town. You may be in luck. I carry a modest amount of adventurer's equipment behind the counter. Would you like to make a purchase?" So, okay, let's ask about the man. "Why, that's me, Casper." Let's ask about his book. "Oh, this book? It's about an adventurer who is trying to become a hero. The title is Quest for Glory, A Hero's Death." Oh, you don't want those goods. They're for people who live here in town. Adventurers just need adventuring equipment. All right, tell us about the equipment. Unfortunately, I have only standard weapons and equipment. I carry daggers and chain armor. Maybe someday I'll be able to carry magic ones, though. I can also sell you food or empty flasks for carrying liquids or powders. Let's ask about the food. Adventuring rations aren't the tastiest food in the world, but they will keep you healthy and alert as you go along. A pack of 5 rations will cost you 5 silver. Let's ask about flasks. It's a very good idea to carry an empty flask or two in case you want to pick up a liquid or something else that needs a container. Our flasks are a great bargain at 2 silvers each. Let's ask about that armor. You can get really good protection from my chainmail armor. It's very heavy though, and I would have to charge you 500 silver for it. And then you said he had weapons. The use of the dagger is a most skillful art. Actually, this particular weapon is longer than most, but easily concealable. A bargain at 20 silver. We don't have a dagger. We're going to need to pick one up, but we can't afford it at the moment. And he's got this shield on the wall, but I do not think you can buy the shield. I'm sorry, I don't have any of those for sale, which is annoying because, well, anyway. So that is all we needed. Actually, no, I left too quickly. Welcome, my adventurer friend. Would you like to make a purchase this time? Yes, I will buy a flask. Here you are. Thank you for your patronage. We're coming up on the hour mark now, and I don't want my videos to be longer than an hour. I'm trying to look into getting people who are willing to caption my videos, and I may have an announcement about that in the future that's separate from an actual game video. If anybody in the audience wants to volunteer to contribute for free, the user contributions has been turned on now, and you should be able to do that. I thought I had that on already. Either I didn't and I screwed up, or I did and YouTube turned it off. I'm not sure, but I've got it back on now. But I don't actually make very much money from these videos at all. Not, unfortunately, enough to afford captioning them. But I would really like them to be captioned because I care about accessibility. And I can't really do it myself because I don't have a transcript and I'm just rambling off the top of my head. And I have a hard time hearing my own self sometimes because I'm hard of hearing in one of my ears. So it's kind of a catch-22. I want accessibility. I care about accessibility, but I don't have the capability to do it myself around the mulberry bush. So if anyone wants to volunteer, that would be awesome. I'm talking with a couple of friends who were like, oh yeah, I'd like to caption a couple of things. I'm looking on like Fiverr to see if there's anyone who's willing to do it for like really cheap, or maybe some kind of work trade or something. But for all that to say, I'm trying not to exceed an hour because I think anything more than that would just be a bear to try to caption. Not that an hour is easy, but anything over than that I think would just be soul crushing. So I'm going to try to keep videos to an hour or less. So in the next video, we will pick up the last screen of town off to the off to the left again, but it's a different left than before. And I just realized that I should be paused here because time will pass if you just stand in place, which is good because we will need it to sometimes. So once again, this is Quest for Glory 1. I am Anna Mardal. Like I said, this is going to be a long series of videos. Obviously, we've just barely scratched the surface of the first day, and it's possible to... I'm not speed running this. We will be going for a while because I'm having fun, and hopefully you are too. I hope so. But for everyone who does come on these, thank you so much. Like, I really, really appreciate it that you're here with me. Thank you. I love you guys all so much. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.